It's afternoon garage time today. Yeah, well, this project is really driving me crazy. If you remember last week, we talked about all that troubleshooting I did and all those leaks I had. Well, this week, I'm going to rip out all that plastic tubing and go all the way to the front, take the airbags out, and hopefully be able to connect copper line all the way to the airbags. So, well, let's not delay that anymore, because it's going to be a long one. And let's get into it. Right now, we got the rear done and the tank pretty much leak free. I'm gonna work on this line here. So this line here is the line that feeds the front, and of course it's plastic line, and it goes from the trunk, underneath the car, up the frame rails, all the way to the front. And then it tees, and it goes out to the individual bags on the right and the left. So yeah, this plastic line is something we really need to get rid of. It's only as strong as the weakest link, and at this point, this is the weakest link. Right, there's the bag. So you can see that this plastic line went kind of straight up through the frame here, through a grommet. Probably rested right about there. And we're going to make it go out the side of the frame, so probably going to be something like that. You can see up here, there's a plastic fitting that could leak. And then this is upper mount, raised up pretty damn high. It's actually welded in here. Unfortunately, because I think in order for me to get this whole thing in there, if I have some copper tubing coming out the side, I can't have this in there. So probably what I'm going to have to do is find a way to cut that off inside of there, which isn't going to be so easy, and then probably weld a nut on there. That way I can unscrew this thing, and when I go to assemble it, another thing I'm going to have to do here too is I'm going to have to collapse the bag as small as possible and kind of finagle it, get it up in there, because you got to remember there's copper tubing going this way with a fitting on the end of it. So another deal is that it has to come, kind of make a 90-degree angle or come out of the side somehow and not the top like it is here. So what I was going to do is I was going to use a fitting like this and then probably have a 90-degree bend and come out of the side of it like that. But the problem is here, you can see that's going to be how deep it is, and unfortunately that's above the internal of the airbag, so that's not going to work either. So unless I kind of this is just isn't going to work. So kind of had to trash that idea, and I think what I'm going to do is go with something like this. So here I have a 3/8 pipe to 3/8 flare, and then a half to 3/8 adapter. Then that'll get me pretty. That's about where it's going to sit on the inside. That'll get me pretty low to kind of just. I think what's going to happen in here is it's going to go out kind of flush with that, so I'll kind of have to circle around and then come out this way. Anyway, this is not going to be easy. This is the most difficult thing. This is why people don't do flared fittings on airbags inside of suspension systems, because it's really difficult to get in there. But really, we can test this on the outside of the car. We can hook this up and kind of have our fittings and put some pressure on this thing and spray these fittings and make sure they don't leak down at all. So you can really kind of test this whole thing outside, with your flare on the outside of it like this, and see if it leaks first before putting it in there. The one difficult thing is going to be is hitting the hole in the frame. So the frame's going to sit right about here, and we're going to have to make sure this line's going to locate, reasonably close, and then not hit this all thread in the center. So lots to think about. I think I'll start with the die grinder in the frame and open up that hole a little bit. I already have a hole punched in there. And try to do this without removing the exhaust or any of the suspension components too, because I really don't want to take anything apart too much. There's really not a need to do that. I think if we collapse the bag and get this assembly as small as possible. You'll probably slide up in there, no problem. Alright, I got this about where I want it, so I can, I put that nut on there, and then I can probably get this a little bit closer to come out this hole here, but then I looked and I said this is the quickest radius bend I can make and still put a flare on it. So if you put this in here like this, you can see that's not going to work either, because this whole thing is just too much longer. So not only will it not work that way, it's higher than that, it won't work this way. But I think the thing to do is they make these, this is just a sweat fitting here, a little 1/4 inch fitting. I think what I should do is I take this hole, and this is obviously cut with plasma cutter, and I never finished it or anything like that. So I think what I'll do is I'll just take a die grinder, die grind this all kind of smooth, make it a big hole in here. Doesn't really need to support anything, so I can take out a lot of material there. So then we can put this in there like that and sweat that fitting, and then a slight little 45 degree, we should go through the frame. All right, ready to go. That's gonna be the best possible chance I have of getting this in that hole. Let's go see if it fits. Yeah, with a little finagling, I was able to get this copper line to exit out that hole that I just reamed out. And, well, there's just no room. Are you trying to come out that hole there? I know this isn't duplicated on the other side, so it's going to have to be a one-off thing. But I think that if I do that, it comes out that hole, and then I can put like a 90 fitting right here. So this is how I had it in there, and obviously that's not going to work because it's up against the header. So I think I'm going to go where I cut a hole out the back. Then I'm going to go right out the back through the frame. That's the plan. Now going out the back of the airbag, I bent up a wire and then turned it into copper and compressed the bag. I think these silicone plugs are pretty good. So that was a little trick I used to keep the airbag deflated. Beats zip ties. Alright, I got the bag sucked down. I got it propped up with some wood blocks, you can see there. And looky there. That comes out of there really good. Now, Now with that location, I'm thinking I can put this T on here and be close to the exhaust, but you know, be a couple inches away, and then head out over the frame to the rear and then down. This is actually going to work out really well, and I'll just leave enough, just enough on the frame there to where I'll flare it right there, so that it just protrudes just a little bit. Go. Okay, there we go. Now I'm through the hole. Wow. All right, now that fitting for this is on the other side of the frame rail, right underneath the motor, right where we can get at it. All right, on to the next side and connect them together. All right, driver's side airbag. So we know that this one kind of went, use this as a template, going with something like that. Then a number of different types of tubing, trying to get out this way. Be right there, and I came up with this. So I think we'll be able to tweak this a little bit, and hopefully you follow this, put this in the same place. Once again, you don't want to go too much, but we want to test it too, so. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, so I put a little bit more bend in here, and I've been test fitting this part a little bit, and I think I got it just about right. You can see right down there, I have about 1/4 inch clearance, and what I want to do I think it kind of sits in there like that. It'll sit in there like that, and what I want to do is I want to have this angled to kind of go down that cross member there, so I can attach a tube into it and just kind of continue right on. So I want it as close to the cross member as possible. Yeah, you can see right up here, it exits this hole right about in the middle. That's a pretty good location there. Probably just going to put a grommet over it. See if I can work a grommet in there. But should be able to just put a union on there and continue down the cradle. Pretty happy with this. All right, this project's getting done. So I was really lucky to have that the connection to the airbag and be able to have it in copper and not. I was going to go with, like, you know, some kind of, they have a Teflon braided line. They use it for, you know, hydraulic clutches and brakes and that kind of thing, and it would hold air as well. But there's nothing like running copper directly to the bag itself. So, you know, I had to go through a couple different frame pieces, but they're right out there where I can access them. I can get underneath it, and I think I'm going to run the section that goes to the rear first, and then, you know, just fill in the center section. So there's really not that many connections. Probably, what was I thinking, about 8 or something like that. That's not too bad for, you know, 2 airbags split in the front. Okay, now in the trunk area, need to replace this plastic line here. And so what I've made is kind of a template of what I want. I'm going to drill a hole right there. So I've made something kind of out of wire where I want it to go. Looks pretty good to me. And then on the other side, I made kind of a template. I'll come out of there. Basically what I came up with. Use this for a sacrificial piece to make this one. This has the correct angles. It goes through that hole correctly. So I'm gonna polish this up, set it aside. Yeah, it's about right where I need it. I just do some little tweaking and it's going together good. Well, there it is. There's how they came together. So that's going to take quite a bit of work to get this union in there straight. All right, one more piece of tubing left. So kind of figure out where to bend this. Alright, that's pretty close. So, the thing I'm really not happy about with this tubing bender is that it has this stop right here, and whenever you use it, it leaves a dimple in the copper tubing. I don't know if you can see that right there. Oh man, that's not very good, especially when you polish this up. You know, everywhere I have a bend, now I have a dimple. So I don't know if this tool can be improved by, I was kind of thinking maybe increasing the surface area, maybe take a die grinder bit, a carbide bit, and kind of round this out a little bit so it matches the contour of the tubing. Although that would kind of change the dimensions of the whole thing. I probably want to watch out for something like this because, especially with this really soft stuff, it just kind of destroys your wonderful copper tubing that you've bent, but that's okay. It's still functional. Just be nice without those dimples in it. Alright, so that's the last piece. Let's go throw her in, put some rubber clamps on this, and air it up, see what happens. you're saying. Thought we had all the airbags put in. Well, I did. In the process of leak checking it, I put a stop on each one of my fittings in there and located it down to this last bag, where this fitting right here looks to me like it blew up again. So I had to take the whole suspension back apart again to discover that this fitting was leaking again. So I think I'm going to use a product like Leak Lock or something like that. There's got to be something I can do to stop this problem. It's kind of getting old. I thought the whole project was done, but it gave me a chance to really tighten everything down, and I have faith in it as long as I can take care of that. Alright, so I tried some of this. This is a Loctite product, 542, but it sit overnight. Got it this morning. Appears that it's okay. So I don't think there's any more leak. I'm going to try to put the airbag in. Might be a good idea not to put everything back together until I know I'm done. Because this is taking forever this way. Well, still leaking. And I come back here. A little water there. Uh-oh. We're blowing bubbles back here now. So you can see I've already repaired that with some kind of a thread sealant. The same kind that failed last time on the front. So I'm probably not going to use Permatex anymore for this. That Permatex, number 14 or whatever the hell it is. That's caused me nothing but headaches. Thinking I can rely on it, and it just blows out with pressure. It's kind of the worst case scenario you want to have happen, is something blowing out later. But hey, that's easy to get to, and well, fix it. Run another test. Alright, still trying to chase leaks in this air system. I narrowed it down to this bag. I have these, these plugs I can put in, and I tested the whole air system in the rear, and went up to the front, and I deadheaded this one. This seemed to lose, I don't know, 5 pounds a day or something like that, which is quite a bit. So this thing has to have a leak. And I put it in. It wasn't leaking. So we'll inflate this bag and see what happens. I know I tested it only at 20 pounds, which is probably a mistake. So we'll put more air in it than that this time. There's 10, 15, 20. And I was talking about you don't really want to overextend this bag too much. But yeah, I'm just really not seeing anything in there. It's kind of disappointing. Well, we'll put some more air in it. Up to 32. 50. Little tiny, tiny bubbles, and that would be, there it is. See, it's kind of starting to come up. So yeah, the pressure's at like 60 right now. And like I said, you don't really want the bag to look like this. It's not good for it. But yeah, seeing air bubbles right in there. I'm worried about these. So this is the Teflon tape that comes with it. You can see that this is this comes with the fittings, probably out of China, and it's really thin, very transparent. Probably need to wrap this around, I don't know, maybe 10 times in order to get any kind of build at all on the Teflon. Here's what I use. You can see it's not so transparent. This is your normal size Teflon tape here. Now I've gone to the store and I got this stuff, and I thought because it was pink, it might be good for, I don't know, projects in the nursery or something like that. But no, what this is it's like triple, quadruple thick. They call it Pink Plumber's thread seal, and it's really thick. So I have had success repairing that one fitting in the rear, so I think that probably going to take this apart and use this stuff on here. It's just a shame that you just have one little leak. You can really screw up the entire system here. Like I said, I tested this at 20 pounds. I didn't get any of this, and well, now you can see it's obviously leaking. Okay, 25 pounds, put more air in it. About like 60 pounds. That looks really good. I'm not seeing any leaks. This pink plumber's tape works really well. As I said in my last video last week, talked about, you know, there was a lot of stuff that kind of went on that, well, you guys just didn't see because, you know, the video would just be too long. So, along with putting the airbags in the front, well, I put some bump stops on it, make sure that the system wouldn't fully drop on the ground. So I can kind of limit the travel of the thing, which is good because the bags aren't quite bottomed out. You really don't want that either. But now the suspension travel is limited. So not really going to be able to leave you stranded anywhere. Now these are all good things that we've done to this air system in here. And I'm really happy it's leak free now. But you know, when you open this up, it's kind of dark back here. So I think what I'm going to do next week is put some interior lighting in the trunk. You know, going to have some kind of a pin switch of some kind, you know, be able to detect when the trunk's up and down. And we'll put some LED strips in there like I did for many other of my cars around here. And should look good by the time we're done. Kind of show it off a little bit. If you like content like this, subscribe if you haven't already. Till next time.